Welcome, everyone, to the Future Belongs to Creators podcast. I am not Nathan or Barrett, and neither are these fine people. We are your new hosts for 2021 of the Future Belongs to Creators. We're having a bit of a cast change, and myself, Haley, and Miguel will be taking it from here. I'm really excited to be doing a podcast with you both.
Yeah, super excited. How about you, Haley?
I mean, I'm only moderately excited. No, I'm
Okay,
Fair.
well,
That's
so we
fair.
go Miguel, me, Haley in terms of excitedness for this, apparently.
No, I'm very excited. I'm very excited. It's going to be good.
I think that to kick things off, we've all been on the show before, so perhaps people listening or watching have actually, seen us before. But we should probably reintroduce ourselves. Do you want to go first, Haley, since Miguel is taking a drink?
Ooh, gosh, I was planning on you going first, but I guess I'll take a stab at it. My name is Haley Janisek. I am. I feel like I need to follow this script of like what Barrett has always done, So I feel like I need to say so. I'm coming to you from Boise, Idaho. Not that everyone necessarily needs to know that. In time, I will not follow Barrett's suit or Nathan's suit, and this will become our own. But Haley Janisek. I produce creator sessions at ConvertKit. I report to Charli. She's my boss. How cool is that? I mean, could I have a better boss? Probably not. And if you have not watched creator sessions, we have various types of creators, everyone from photographers, filmmakers, musicians, perform on creator sessions, tell their stories, talk about the creation of their work. And it's really fun. We release them on YouTube, and we have some big plans for what that's going to become in 2021. And that's what I do at ConvertKit. Miguel.
And what do you do outside of ConvertKit, though, Haley? Because I feel like you need to plug your amazing side hustle here.
Okay. Well, outside of ConvertKit, before my side hustle, I am a mom of 3 girls. Wish me luck on life. So I'm a mom of 3 girls. So I work full time, parent full time. I do have a husband, which he's cool too. And I have an awesome side hustle that I have a partner with, Mandy Gubler, and we call it Happy Houseplant. And we basically give people really simple houseplant advice. And we have a bunch of products that we sell as well. I have a wee bit of a houseplant obsession. So maybe someday I'll give you guys a tour of all my houseplants, but so a wee bit of a houseplant obsession.
Love it. All right, Miguel, now you're up.
All right. Well, I did Barrett always do? He tends to do the weather thing. Did he do the weather thing?
You can. How about Haley can do the location and you can do the weather.
All right, cool. All right. Well,
we'll cover Barrett's spiel.
I mean, so I'm coming at you from Tampa Bay, Florida, where the weather is a brisk 64 degrees. For all of you who do Celsius, it's less than that. I don't know what the calculation is, but it is 64 degrees Celsius. We would be bad, probably. So now here in Florida, what I do for ConvertKit is I help people figure out the technical issues that they're having with with their website, with the app, getting things exactly the way that they wanted. So that way everything's talking to each other, because right now, your website's in one place, your email marketing's in another place, where you're selling stuff might be somewhere else. So, making it all talk to each other. So you're spending more time creating and less time trying to be your own tech support person. So that's me. I help you with that. So that is what I do here at ConvertKit for the most part. And what I do creatively, we're also sharing that, right? So, so I don't have a side hustle per se. I don't make money on the side, really. It's more of a hobby that I constantly flirt with turning into a side hustle, which is just woodworking. I like to hang out in the garage and make a mess with sawdust flying everywhere. And I've always been somebody that really doesn't like to just go out and buy the thing. I think if it looks like something, I always look at something and say, oh, I can make that, to the point of like, I get made fun of for saying it all the time, or just like, okay, yeah, sure. And then I just then really want to do it because I just want to show them that I can. And then that turned into just all the stuff, like all these shelves and things here I built for my lovely wife, who also has a plant obsession.
We can see.
So yeah, don't mistake this for me being a plant person. I'm just the guy who builds the shelves. So that's it.
The plants. I love it.
But yeah.
Great. I love that you make woodwork things just to prove to people that you can.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Don't ever underestimate the power of proving someone wrong, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, next time I'm with Miguel, I'm going to find the most complex piece of furniture that I can find and talk about how much I love it and wait for him to say, I can make that. And I'll be like, can you? Can you,
That
Miguel?
is quite the challenge, because I just went through a process with Haley of finding a new chair for the Creator Sessions set. And let me tell you, she finds some interesting ones. So you're in trouble, Miguel.
Yeah.
Well,
You
that's
also
a
got to
little
get good at upholstery.
Myself, I am the creative director at ConvertKit. And like Haley said, I lead the brand team that she's a part of. So I'm responsible for building our brand, for our marketing design, all that fun stuff, getting people, more creators, knowing about ConvertKit. And outside of ConvertKit, I do a lot of things. I have a YouTube channel where I talk about design. I have a podcast where I also talk about design. So this is actually my third podcast. I think it's now officially become a problem, but that's fine. What else do I do? This year I'm on a challenge for myself to write more. I really want to write a book. That's my big thing that I'm working towards. And I thought I'd share it now because I'm sure it'll come up in many future episodes. It's always the thing that I'm thinking about and working on the side. But yeah, that's me. And like I said, I'm excited to be doing a podcast with you both. We are sort of transitioning this show a little bit from, Nathan and Barrett started this as a daily show to turn the anxiety they were feeling about the pandemic and everything that was happening into the world into this creative output, and obviously there's still a lot happening in the world and we all still do have anxieties that we're turning into creative output. But I feel like this show has really become more like a gathering place for creators and for the, creator industry as a whole. And that's what I'm really excited about turning this into more, is your place to come to hear about what's happening in the creator space, any new developments, new cool things that we're discovering, that other people are discovering, that we have on to tell us about it, and really about what it means to be a creator.
When it was, we were going back and forth talking about who was the possibility of other team members taking over the podcast from Nathan and Barrett. I'll say I was reluctantly kind of raised my hand, little,
Half hand raise?
Like a half hand raise. Because I was really nervous. I've never done a podcast before. I've obviously been a guest on Nathan and Barrett's version of our podcast.
Yeah, we own it now.
Right? We own it. It's ours now. And I was really nervous. But when I found out that Charli and Miguel were doing it or also had interest in it, then I got really excited because they're two people on the team that I really admire. Also, probably more importantly, they're two people on the team that I really enjoy bantering with. So that makes for some, fun entertainment. But things I'm excited about bringing to this podcast, probably first and foremost, I think there's kind of three things that I'm most excited about. But the first is just more transparency. I've been working at ConvertKit. I've been in the SaaS industry for a long time, and I've been working at ConvertKit for, almost 4 years now. And one of the things about the creative industry that has always bothered me was the lack of transparency centered around money. And for those of you guys who have a copy of our first volume, our I Am a Blogger book, one of the things they do in it, we do in it, is we break down monetization, right, for a lot of the creators that are included in that book. And when that was released, that was right around, we're talking days or weeks around the time that I joined ConvertKit, and seeing at least it was the docuseries version of that, right? So seeing that was the first time that I ever saw transparency into the creative industry and what people could actually make, earning a living doing work that they love. And still 4 years later, I still find that it's hard to get that information. So I'm really excited to try to find opportunities to talk more about transparency as far as making money, earning a living, doing work that you really love. Other things I'm really excited about talking about are like leaning into new ideas and really pushing forward those new ideas. For me, that's really close to kind of what I'm doing now with Creator Sessions. If you've been following along at all, you know that Creator Sessions came out of fear of losing my job because of the pandemic. No, but in reality, I would move to an events-based role, and then every single event that we had canceled. And what ended up coming out of that was Creator Sessions and the advice that Barrett had given me, which is like, if you want this thing to succeed, you have to lean so far into it that it's scary because you don't know if it's going to succeed or if it's going to fail. And that, I think, has pushed me so far beyond my comfort level, but it's also helped this thing create this thing that is now, in a way, changing some of the things that we're doing as a business. So that's really exciting for me. And then Amy Vitale said this. Actually, a lot of creators that have been on Creator Sessions have said this in various versions during their session. But they said you have to stop creating for what others want, right? You have to stop creating things that you think other people want, and you have to start creating things that you want to do. And I'm really excited to talk about that kind of stuff on this podcast. So I'm really excited to be here so I can, dig into that kind of stuff.
And what about you, Miguel?
Yeah, I love that, Haley. I'm looking forward to exploring all that stuff. And for me, what I want to hopefully bring into it is that same sort of, and we touched on it a second ago when I talked about what I do personally, but there's a sort of DIY sort of mentality that comes to being a creator. You might see things that inspire you. You might see things that look like something that you might want to do, and feeling like, you know what, I can do that, and maybe I can do it better, or I can do it the way that I would want it. And I want to bring that sort of groundedness to this conversation. I want us to talk about what is the best way to approach things. And I really want to make sure that people understand that this isn't a podcast about ConvertKit, but it's a podcast about creativity. We all happen to work at ConvertKit, but we're not here to try and sell people on ConvertKit. We're not here to try and talk about any of that stuff. We may talk about ConvertKit to offer insight, but it's not about that at all. It's about nurturing creativity, trying to navigate, the not necessarily the do's and don'ts, but what being able to bring in, because we have this resource of being with ConvertKit, being able to bring in maybe customers that we have, or companions, or people that we've met that are creators themselves, and we feel like they can offer a really important perspective to people who are maybe just getting started out and things seem scary, or I want to do this, but I don't know how to do it. So like kind of helping people along to get over that really difficult beginning part, so that way they can really streamline into being a creator and find their little corner of people that love what you do. So
Yeah, and their own little corner of the internet as well.
that's right.
Yeah, that's cool. Something that I love about us having this show as well is I keep my own side hustles, like my design stuff, very focused on design. Like I've leaned really heavily into that niche, but I obviously do have lots of thoughts on being a creator in general as well. And I've very purposefully not made YouTube videos about being a YouTuber, if that makes sense. And so I feel like on this show is where some of that will get to come out in sharing my thoughts on that sort of thing, because that is a side hustle. Like YouTube in particular, I feel like will be the angle that I bring up a lot with whatever topic we talk about, because I've been doing it for 7 years and building my channel. But yeah, it's going to be great. And something that we want to do actually is if you check the link in the description box of this video that you're watching right now, or the podcast app if you're listening to the audio version, we really want to open this up to bring people on the show to share these stories, right? Like it would it would be great if we could turn this into a safe space for people to come along and like talk to their peers, us, about things that they've been through on their creator journey, whether that's a launch that you did and it like went really well and you want to share the wins that you found and like what you learned about that. Or maybe it flopped completely and you'd like to talk about it with us and we can like dig into where it might have gone wrong and like what you can learn from it for next time, what other people could learn from it for next time. I think that'd be really cool to turn this podcast into a space for that sort of thing. So yeah, there'll be a form for you to fill out if you've got a story to tell that you want to come along and share on this show. We'd love to see who's interested and see who's brave enough really to share that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm excited for those conversations. That always makes me think of this thing that Nathan says about, and this is kind of like collaboration over competition, right? It's a little different, but Nathan always talks about people will ask him, oh, is there really enough market space for you to, be really successful in this email marketing industry? And then he goes on and then he'll show, all of our competitors. And then he shows MailChimp and like what their ownership of the, email marketing space is. And he's like, yes, there is space for all of us to be successful, even though, obviously ConvertKit's the best, but the point of saying that is that, one thing that I have found that has always frustrated me is that people I find that especially in that influencer space and when we're talking about money, this thing that I want to go like that is really important for me that I want to go talk about is that people get really anxious about sharing what works for them because they don't want other people to jump on the bandwagon and do that thing that worked for them because there's fear that there's not enough space for everyone. And there is so much space for everyone. And I just want to remind people, like, as you were talking about that, Charli, just want to remind people, good night. This is a big world and this is a big internet and there is space for everyone. And providing insights from your failures or successes is going to help other creators, and helping other creators is going to help us. And you specifically for those of you who are listening. But I think that's my biggest hope, is that this is a podcast that can be helpful for people that are navigating that creative industry, whether it's inspiration or it's in like tactical, in some cases. That's my hope, is that people can find themselves finding solutions here and also inspiration.
Yeah, I love that. So like, as you're hearing, this is going to be the same Future Belong Creators show that you've come to know and love, but also a little different with us leading it and taking it from here. And one more change to tell everyone about is that we are no longer going to be going live on Mondays and Fridays. We're going to be going live once a week on Wednesdays. And it'll be at noon Eastern time, not Pacific time. So we would really appreciate seeing people show up and hang out in the chat to contribute your own thoughts to the conversation that we're having and the topic that we're talking about. So join us live on Wednesdays, starting this Wednesday at noon Eastern time, please.
And thank you.
Not Pacific.
Not Pacific, very clearly. Yeah.
Although if you do show up at noon Pacific, then you
can watch
that
the
you
replay.
can.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So there's no such thing as being too late.
Yeah.
But if you want to interact with us and you want to be here live, and we always pay attention to the comments, and we love bringing people into the conversation. I love getting feedback from people. I mean, I love talking to you ladies as well, but it's just always nice, to just have someone jump in and spark an idea, or just talk about something that you guys want to talk about. So I am looking forward to seeing everyone there.
And we hope we'll see lots of you there on Wednesday for our first live episode in this new version of the show. Well, talk to you both then, I guess.
Talk to you both then. All right, friends.
Super excited. Have a good weekend.
Bye, everyone.